Mother of Spices is a fitting name to describe the condition of our land. Indonesia is responsible for many different and exceptional spices. This richness is what sparked the spice trade, which left its mark on Nusantara. What followed was a trail of tradition and culture still very much alive today. Spices, which dominated trade of the time, were pepper, nutmeg, ginger, clove, and cinnamon. Believe it or not, the value of Indonesian spices were far-reaching, affecting not only the social and political lives in Europe, but also the culture. The spice trade revolves around historical civilizations in Asia, East Africa, and Europe. A special spice, the clove, is considered a primary commodity in the history of trade. This is Afo, the world's legendary clove tree. In the Maluku language, Afo means old, and the location where it grows has already seen 3 generations of this tree. The first fell in 2001, aged almost 500 years. The next met its end in 2019, a young 250 years old. This is the last standing and is some 200 years old. Indonesia is a silent witness to the beginning of the spice trade, when one of its islands, home of the Afos, became a prime destination of trade. In the year 1512, the Maluku Islands were visited by a far-off and unexpected guest, the Portuguese. They ruled the Sultanate of Ternate's commodity of nutmeg and clove during a time when these spices were the subject of European fascination. But the Portugal ambition of controlling trade in all of Maluku fell in 1575. There were many strategies undertaken by locals to get rid of the foreigners, but overextending their influence within the Sultanate of Ternate and Tidore was what eventually led to the downfall of the Portuguese. Non-interference from outside the island did not last. In the early 17th century, the Dutch took over in Maluku, the beginning of an occupation leading to the rule of most trade in Nusantara. The VOC policy for clove was known as extirpati, an effort to create scarcity and sustain high prices of clove globally. But such measures were only achieved by eradicating clove trees on a massive scale. Itu, Leyte Timor, and Eliezer were the only 3 regions permitted by the Dutch to cultivate clove, and the rest were to be destroyed. These acts certainly left wounds, as all faced persecution. From the farmers that relied on the cultivation of the spice and had to do so in hiding, to the Maluku people as a whole, unable to carry on tradition by planting a clove tree with every newborn. Even with the monopoly lifted in 1864 and 1937, the trauma stayed, as Maluku struggled to recover as the center of clove production. A factor was the many decades needed for the clove tree to be benefited from. Currently, northern Sulawesi possesses the largest clove farmland area in Indonesia. The Maluku province has the highest rate of production, and the East Java province is the forefront exporter of clove, supplying the international market. In the year 2019, Indonesia was the world's largest producer of clove, followed by Madagascar. The country needing the most clove was India, with a total global consumption of 33%. So, from the story and the long journey of clove,
Exactly what benefits can we obtain from this most famous spice?
Europe was first introduced to clove by Arab traders that discovered the spice from Maluku. An interest in the spice developed after finding out of its uses in medicine and cuisine. Due to the fantastical price of clove at the time, it could only be enjoyed by the bourgeoisie. Another benefit of spices can be seen in the eugenol compounds found in clove. This compound can be used as a toothache relief.
The name clove comes from the French word cloves, which means nails. And if you look, it really does resemble a nail.
The most utilized part of the clove is the flower. At a glance, the flower really resembles a nail. Clove has a sweet taste and a very distinct scent. Its main use in the culinary world is to mask unwanted smells in foods, add flavor in warm drinks, and to even strengthen the aroma of cakes.
Asia, Africa, and the Middle East are all indebted to the assistance of clove in all their various distinct dishes.
Clove is used to season meats, but it is also great if utilized in soups. Bobatai, nasi kabuli, curry, and simur are some names of dishes whose deliciousness rely on the role that clove plays.
Might be able to name many beautiful flowers that are pleasant to the eye, but the clover flower encapsulates a broader sense of beauty. Together, in the land of spices, let us uncover the many benefits and uses of clove. Richly spicy, dark, and wintry, the flavor of cloves is unmistakable. Aside from being a strong accent, they have found a permanent place in sweet preparations, such as in pies and tart fillings, quick bread, and even in fruitcakes.
Cloves are sold in two forms: whole dried buds and also grounded. As with most spices, the best way to buy cloves are whole, then grind them yourself as needed. Cloves marry well with other sweet spices, such as cinnamon, allspice, and nutmeg. This spice is rarely used alone.
The correct measurements must be observed when utilizing clove, because this spice is so strong. As an example, just 1 clove is sufficient for a portion of stew.
Even though clove is categorized as a sweet spice, it is essential when preparing meats. This is because clove can mask strong meat and fish odors. In countries that consume a lot of variety meats, clove has an important role in the processing of those dishes. The phenolic compound found in clove acts as a fragrant in dishes and can preserve the foods cooked with it.
The clove is a rich source of bioactive compounds, especially the phenolic compound that acts as an antioxidant and is good for the body. That's one of the reasons why clove tea is so beneficial.
A teaspoon of clove tea can fulfill 300% of our daily manganese needs, 4% of vitamin K, and 3% of vitamin C. The water boiled from clove is also enriched with the eugenol antioxidant. When boiled in water, the water can produce a hydrocarbon extract such as flavone, isoflavone, and flavonoid. These extract clusters have a good function for our bodies. It is quite easy. Prepare 10 pieces of dry clove and mash. Boil with 2 glasses of water, and it is ready to be enjoyed.
Air rebusan cengkeh tadi itu lebih banyak mengandung flavonoidnya sebenarnya. Flavonoid itu sebagai antioksidan lebih banyak. Jadi antioksidannya. Kemudian sebagai anti nyeri, ya kan? Kemudian sebagai anti inflamasi sebenarnya di situ. Nah, ini menjadi andalan sebenarnya herbal ini. Sebenarnya untuk yang bisa kita gunakan sehari-hari untuk meningkatkan satu imunitas kita. Kemudian sebagai vitamin sebenarnya kan, itu yang manfaatnya banyak sekali sebenarnya cengkeh ini. Masyarakat kalau bisa ya menggunakan aja bahan-bahan alami yang ada di sekitar kita kan, dan itu pasti murah, tidak mahal, ya kan? Kalau sudah sakit mahal, kalau menjaga kesehatan itu murah.
In order to preserve the quality and aroma of cloves you haven't yet used, always store them in a tightly sealed container and away from other strong-smelling spices. The European interest for clove surrounded its uses in cooking as well as in medicine, and this need for clove continues to be seen today. Let's find out whether the journey of clove in the medical world has experienced changes in modern times.
Yang paling banyak dari minyak esensial itu dari biji dari cengkeh tadi itu. Kalau kita bilang biji cengkeh kan, ada bijinya, ada daunnya. Nah, biji cengkehnya tadi yang buah cengkeh tadi. Nah, itu 18% itu minyak esensial. Nah, cuman kalau kita ambil minyak esensialnya itu dia mengandung eugenol. Eugenol itu lebih banyak ke antiseptik, antibakterial, antiseptik di mulut kita. Biasanya dibuat dalam bentuk mouthwash ya, odol. Nah, itu produk yang cengkeh ya, yang bisa digunakan untuk antiseptik, dan penelitiannya sudah ada sebenarnya secara preklinis ya.
And now, with the right measurements, let's try and make some cookies with this aromatic spice.
Clove cookies. Prepare 50 grams of almond powder, 200 grams of butter cubes, 20 grams of milk powder, 340 grams of low-protein flour, 2 egg yolks, 50 grams of margarine, and 20 grams of corn flour, 200 grams of flour sugar. Place the butter, margarine, and flour sugar, and mix well using a mixer for 4 minutes. Add the egg yolks and continue to mix evenly. Add the almond powder and half a teaspoon of clove powder and continue mixing. Finally, add the flour, milk powder, and corn flour using a sieve into the batter and mix again. Next, shape into finger-like sticks and put in an oven below 140 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. After it has cooled, dip into a chocolate mixture and follow up by dipping into white chocolate. The clove cookies are ready to be enjoyed.
After seeing its benefits and all the different ways of utilizing clove, next in the land of spices, we'll see how the spice is grown. came to the Maluku Islands in the 16th century, this is what they fought over. The clove plantation offers a refreshing atmosphere, and today in the Chiamas district, let's take a closer look at this evergreen plant. Being out in nature has a robust effect on people's health. Calming the mind is just one of them. But even better in a place like this, no? Enlightening the mind, as well as learning about cloves, all in one fell swoop.
Selamat datang di perkebunan cengkeh Desa Mekarjaya, Ciamas, Kabupaten Sukabumi. Luasan perkebunan ini 600 hektar dengan populasi tanaman 35.000 yang masih kita kembangkan sampai dengan saat ini. Ini tanaman cengkeh yang ditanam semenjak 1973 sampai dengan saat ini kita masih melakukan pembibitan, penanaman, dan perawatan.
Clove flowers grow after 4 to 6 years on clove trees which reach heights of 8 to 12 meters. Although it doesn't fetch the high price it once did, cloves still bring in a modest income.
Mungkin kebutuhan nasionalnya dari kita bisa memasok dari 90%-nya nilai jualnya luar biasa, tapi karena kita populasinya terlalu untuk diukur dari tingkat nasional itu kecil, jadi kita akhirnya paritas kita yang sebenarnya bagus, jadi akhirnya sama dengan yang lain. Karena kita panen itu masih dengan manual gitulah, jadi di situ butuh tenaga kerja yang luar biasa. Nah, dari tahun ke tahun itu tenaga itu bukannya semakin mudah, tapi semakin sulit karena keadaan situasi zaman yang merubah itu semuanya. Orang mungkin karena gengsi, orang udah punya usaha, nggak mungkin kok mengandalkan kok bekerja di saat panen aja, kan mereka butuh hidup sepanjang tahun kan gitu.
There are two critical moments in this plant's life, at 1 year to 3 years, and at 8 years to 10 years. This is a time when the clove plant can easily be spoiled by pests. To impede these maladies, proper and detailed steps must be taken.
Ini adalah cengkeh, bibit cengkeh usia 12 bulan. Dalam masa ini bibit cengkeh sangat rawan dengan hama rayap, makanya kami selalu merawat dengan teratur, selalu menyemprot dengan insektisida anti rayap. Jadi untuk cengkeh yang dewasa seperti ini yang kami antisipasi adalah penyakit penggerek batang, rayap pohon, puter, dan cacar daun, embun jelaga itu yang bisa menurunkan produktivitas cengkeh kami.
Based on its morphology, the clove plant can be classified into 3 types: the native Maluku clove, the wild clove, and the cultivated clove. In this region, the Zanzibar clove is what is cultivated by the locals.
Ini bibit yang tingginya 40 cm, yang berumur 12 bulan udah siap tanam. Ini saya udah mau melakukan penanaman, yang mana tempat penanaman ini seminggu sebelumnya udah saya proses, udah saya campur dengan pupuk kandang atau kompos dan juga dolomit. Dari seminggu yang lalu saya sudah tambahi juga obat pembasmi hama, yaitu insektisida.
Not just the flower, but all the parts of the clove tree are valuable. Who says that money doesn't grow on trees? This is where the clove plant comes to be distilled. Here, essential oils are extracted from the clove plant leaves and its stem.
Kalau penyulingan itu tersendiri, jadi daun sama batang itu dipisah. Jadi daun-daunnya aja, batang-batangnya aja. Jadi ada perbedaan dari aroma minyak daun, terus aroma minyak gagang, terus ada juga hasilnya atau rendemennya dari minyak daun tersebut atau rendemen dari minyak gagang itu ada perbedaan. Terus ada juga kadarnya itu contohnya aja minyak daun itu kadarnya 20 nyampe 35. Kalau minyak gagang itu dari 40 nyampe 55.
This process takes quite some time and varies depending on what's being distilled. Distilled in different vessels, the leaves take 4 to 5 hours, whereas the stems can take up to 8 hours.
Syukur alhamdulillah Allah telah ciptakan dari daun yang sederhana yang jadi sampah, kita manfaatin, kita olah jadi hasilkan uang. Ya kalau musim kemarau bisa tiap hari, tapi kalau sekarang itu kan musim hujan, jadi bahan bakunya itu nggak banyak yang turun, intinya beda sama dengan musim kemarau.
Learned a great deal about clove in our journey today, of its place in history as an instrument of socio-economic change, but also of its role as a political commodity. Indonesia has a lot to offer the world, but for now, come discover the value of our spices. Together, we'll see Indonesia, see the world, and see today.